So in the yesterday's session, we have discussed about how to install Python software, how to install the other packages like NumPy Pandas, and how to view the path. At the time of installing the Python software itself, we have selected one checkbox where the Python path is automatically added in the environment variables. So that is done automatically. But again, we have seen how to view the path, whether the path is set properly or not. We have seen so properties and system properties, then advanced system settings in the environment variables. We have seen the path, and everything is done properly, right? And in the today's session, I'm going to explain how to execute a Python program, a simple Python program, right? First Python program, how to execute, how many ways are there to execute a Python program, got it? And see, now when you execute a Python program, what are the files formed, okay? What exactly happens and what are the commands used there when you are compiling and executing your first Python program, okay? All those things we'll discuss it in the today's session. Understood? So coming to here, executing a Python program. First, there are three ways of executing a Python program. The first one is using Python's command line window. You know, in the yesterday session, we have pinned the Python's command prompt and idle window to the taskbar, right? So we can execute the Python programs in three ways. The first way is using Python's command line window. Okay, and the second way is using Python's graphics window, nothing but idle. That is the second way. And the third way is directly from the system prompt. Okay, from the system prompt also we can do it directly. Got it? So all the three ways I'll explain you. Okay, and by using the notepad also, generally if you go for C or Java, generally we can use either notepad or edit plus for writing the Java program. We'll save it with the .java extension, and we can compile and execute the programs from the run dialog box, right? Run command prompt, right? So that is also, that way is also there here. Okay, by using the notepad, I'll type the Python program, and later I'll save that file with .py extension. .py means Python program. Okay, if you want to save a file as a Python program, Python file, then you have to save it with the extension .py. Okay, so you save that file with .py extension, then from the command prompt, okay, DOS command prompt, you can execute it. That possibility, that way is, I'll show it to you today. Okay, so the first thing is, when we compile the Python program, actually when you write a Python program, what happens? The Python compiler will takes that .py file, converts that into bytecode instructions, and it will give the bytecode instructions to the Python virtual machine. That Python virtual machine will convert that bytecode instructions to machine understandable format, and finally you are getting the output, but here when you compile and execute a Python program, you don't see any file. All the things whatever I said, right? When you write a demo.py program and when you compile it, you will get generally demo.pyc file. That demo.pyc file contains bytecode instructions which is taken by the Python virtual machine, which will convert that bytecode instructions into machine understandable format, and you are getting the result. But when you open and see that folder, you won't see any file formed there except this .py file. Entire thing will be happened internally, and finally you are seeing the final result. Got it clear or not? So when we compile a Python program, we cannot see the .pyc files produced by the Python compiler and the machine code generated by the Python virtual machine. This is done internally in the memory and the output is finally visible for us. Got it? How to compile? Simple. Python. Python is a command for calling the Python compiler. Got it clear or not? You are typing the Python program name like this. Demo is the file name and .py is the extension used for saving the file with as a program, Python program. Okay. So if you want to save the Python program, so you have to use .py extension. Okay. So we cannot find any files in the directory with the extension what .pyc. You know, after compilation, you are getting the in the Java you will get .class files which contains bytecode instructions. Na? Same way in the Python also you will be getting .pyc files with the extension .pyc, Python compiled code. But you can't see this .pyc files in the directory where you saved your file source code, right? But sometimes if you want to create a .pyc file from the source code, generally this entire thing happens internally and finally you are getting the output. Got it? But if you want to separately create a .pyc file from the source code, what you have to do is you have to type this command. Okay, Python space -m. -m is nothing but that is the option. Okay, m represents what? Module. Okay, we are calling the Python compiler with -m option. -m means what? M represents module. That module name is what? py_compile. Understood? That module name is py_compile. You give it and then space, you give the Python source code file name demo.py. What this py_compile module will do? This module generates the .pyc file for the specified .py file. Got it clear? Whatever the .py file, Python source code file we have provided for that specified source code file, this py_module will generate the .pyc file. Got it clear? Next, where it will create? Actually, the compiler creates a separate directory in the current directory where you saved your program. Got my point? In the D drive, I have created one folder known as Python Programs 2020. I created Python Programs 2020. Got it? 2020 we can't forget, no? Yes. So it's a memorable year. Fine. So for my batches, I put the name as Python 2020, Java 2020, C 2020, like that. I created the folders. So, so here the compiler creates a separate directory. Okay, Python Programs 2020 is my folder where I am saving all my Python programs. In that folder, this py_compile, okay, the compiler will create a separate directory with the name what? This is double underscore. This is double underscore, not a single underscore. __ pycatch __. This is the name. With this name, pycatch. Okay. It will create a separate directory known as pycatch directory where it stores the .pyc files. Got it? And the .pyc file name looks like this. You know, this is the demo. Demo is the file name given by us. Demo.cpython. CPython is nothing but standard Python compiler. We have so many flavors of Python available like Jython, JPython, IronPython, PyPy. Okay, like that, so many flavors of Python available. So here CPython is nothing but standard Python compiler which is written in the C language. Okay. So in the python.org we are downloading, like that is the standard Python compiler. Demo.cpython. This 38 is there, na? 38 is nothing but version 3.8. If it is 3.6 version, na, you will get 36 here. Got it clear? -38.pyc. Like this, the Python compiled file, okay, compiled code file will be formed. I mean .pyc file name maybe looks like this. Understood? Got it? Any doubt here? This topic. Any doubts here? So when we are compiling the Python program, we cannot see the .pyc files produced by the Python compiler. Okay, and we cannot see the machine code generated by the PVM also, Python virtual machine also. Everything will be done internally, and finally you are seeing the output. Okay, and Python is a command that is used for, that is nothing but a Python compiler, which is used for compiling the Python program. Okay, so we cannot see any in Java. When you compile a Java program, right? So if you have taken demo.java, right, when you compile by using the javac command, if you compile a Java program in the folder wherever you saved your Java source code, right, demo.java, there you can see after compilation you can see demo.class file. Okay, that dot class file is taken by the Java virtual machine, which will convert that into machine understandable format, and finally you are getting the output. So in Java, two files will be formed. One is .java file, another one is .class file. But coming to the Python, after compilation, you cannot see a file with the extension .pyc in your directory or folder where you saved your source code files. If you want to separately create the .pyc files from the source code, you have to use the module known as py_compile. Using that module, you can generate a .pyc file in the specified directory or folder. Okay, and that too, that .pyc files will be stored separately internally. The PVM, Python compiler will create a separate directory known as pycache. In that, it will store all these .pyc files. And that .pyc file also name will also looks like this. When you want to use the .pyc file, you have to use like this only. Got it? CPython represents standard Python compiler, and 3.8 is nothing but version name. Like this, you have to compile. Then you will get one dot. Okay, Bindu, why are you doing this? Why we are see, what is the use of, see, the Python is internally doing all the things. Okay, finally you are seeing the output, of course, but then why are you again creating the .pyc file like this? Okay, is there any specific reason? Yes, actually now, see, generally what happens, the Python compiler takes the Python code, converts that into compiled code, then that code is taken by Python virtual machine, converts that into machine understandable format, and you are getting the output. But here, when you type like this is the Python compiler, no? Whenever the Python compiler sees this, it sees this .pyc file here, it skips the first step. The first step is what? Python compiler converts the source code to compiled code. But here we are directly providing the .pyc file. That means Python compiler skips the first step because already the bytecode is here. It will directly gives that code to PVM, which will takes that code, converts that into machine understandable format, and you are getting the output. One step is reduced here, no? That makes the program execution faster, improves the performance. That is the reason why we are doing here like this. And one more important thing is also there. Some in the Java generally, when you are developing the projects, right? If you want to send the files to some other people, you are sending class files only. Okay, class files only. Here also, if you want to share, you can share these .pyc files to other people. Got it clear? Understood? And actually, one more thing is also there. Frozen binaries. Frozen binaries. Okay, because this point came, I am just telling you. Later we'll discuss about these things. Generally, when a software is developed in Python, right? Okay, so two ways are there to provide that software to the end user. Generally, okay. The first way is what we can directly provide the .pyc files to the user. What the user will do, the user will install the Python virtual machine in their computer, and they will run these bytecode instructions of this .pyc files, and finally they are getting the output. Okay. Other way is will provide the .pyc files, Python virtual machine, along with the necessary Python libraries. You know, I am using Python. See this modules, right? Py_modules like that, no? DIS module, disassembler module, like that. No, we are using, right, all the necessary library files, Python library files, Python virtual machine, .pyc files, all the things we will provide it to the end user. In the second way, what we will do is we'll combine all the .pyc files, related Python library, Python virtual machine. We'll combine all that together, and we'll convert that into a single executable file with .exe extension. Okay, and we'll provide that executable file to the user. So what the user will do, the user can directly execute that file by double clicking on it. Okay, so this is nothing but, so the way of providing the .pyc files, Python library along with Python virtual machine, which we are combining all that together, forming an executable file, giving that executable file to the user so that the user can directly double click on it and they will execute it. Okay, so this way is known as, okay, converting the Python programs into true executables is called frozen binaries. But it will have more size, right? Because you are not only sending the .pyc files, it contains Python virtual machine and Python library files also. That's okay. So, but to create this type of frozen binaries, right, we need to use some other third-party softwares. Like, you know, for Windows, if you want to create frozen binaries, okay, in the Windows operating system, you are going to use Py2exe software. And for Unix or Linux, you will be using a PyInstaller, okay, Freeze, like that. Another programs, another softwares, you will use it for generating the frozen binaries. Got it? Py2exe or Freeze, PyInstallers, like this. Understood my point or not? Frozen binaries is nothing but if you develop a software, okay, when a software is developed in the Python, so generally we'll provide that software to the end users or to other people in two ways. The first way is just provide the .pyc files, compile code to the other people, so that they can, in their system, they will install the Python virtual machine and they can directly execute this .pyc files what we have provided, right? And the second way is what we are going to do is we'll provide the .pyc files, compile code or PVM along with the Python libraries, whatever needed for that particular .pyc files execution. Okay, all the things we will combine it, all the things together, and we'll convert that all the things together as a single executable file. Okay, and that executable file directly we are providing it to the other people so that they can double click on that executable file. Generally, if you want to install, we are clicking the setup.exe file, double clicking on that, right? So that Python will be installed, right? In the same way, we'll form an executable file. That executable file will share it to them. What they will do is they will directly double click on it and they will execute it. Got it? So converting this type of Python programs into executables is nothing but frozen binaries. So we cannot do it directly here. For that, we need compulsory third-party software. So by using that only, we can create this type of frozen binaries. Understood? But the memory, it occupies more size. Why? Because it not only contains .pyc files. .pyc files are just a text files. Okay, .pyc files are just a text files. So here the frozen binaries contains what both Python virtual machine, library files, everything now, which will occupy more size, obviously. Understood? Any doubt here? So theoretically, I explained all the things, right? Now practically, I'll show you a simple program, how to execute a simple Python program. First, Python program using Python command line window, using Python's idle graphics window directly from the system prompt. Okay, and what you can say using Notepad also. Got it? And how to will verify whether that file is saved in the folder or not, and whether compiled code .pyc files formed or not. If they are not formed, how to separately create .pyc files, and how that PyCatch folder created, everything I'll show it to you now. I already done that contains PyCatch folder, but now I'll remove that, no problem. Okay, so this I will delete it. Done. So in the D drive, I created one folder known as Python programs 2020. Okay, so now first let's go here. 1 second. So the first way is what? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So here, the first way is what? Python's command line window. Okay. So first go to, see, we have already pinned the Python command prompt and Python idle window to the taskbar, right? For directly using. Okay. Yeah, you just click on this black icon, Python command prompt open. You can increase the size by right clicking here. Okay. And here you use properties. Okay, you can increase the size to 24 or something like that. Okay, you if you want, you can change the font styles also here. Okay, colors also you can change it, but I'm not doing anything, just a size I'm increasing, that's it. Okay, here hash first Python program. What is hash? Hash is used for comment. Okay, to write the comment we are going to use the hash symbol. Okay, understood or not? Okay, so next I will explain how to write the comments. Okay, everything in the notes. Second action. Comments, two types of comments. So single line comment is this one, hash, and multi-line comments. So 3 double quotes or 3 single quotes you have to give for writing the multiple line comments. But hash is used for single line comments. Okay. So first to Python program, and this 3 greater than symbols is there. No, this is nothing but a Python prompt. Okay, this is nothing but a Python prompt. We have installed the 3.8 version now. That's why it is like this. It has shown. Okay. So this is a 3 greater than symbols is nothing but Python prompt. Here I am typing. I am just performing the addition of two numbers. Okay, A is equals to 10 I wrote and B is equals to 20 I wrote. Okay, I have taken two variables. Today I am just showing you how to execute a simple Python program by using all the three. In the tomorrow session, we are going to start the basics, like what is variable, what is data type, what are literals, what are the operators available. Okay, all the basic things we'll discuss it in the tomorrow session. Tomorrow session is also very, very important. You should not miss. Got it? Fine. A is equals to 10, B is equals to 20. Then next what? C is equals to A plus B. Then next what? Print. Print is a function used for printing any string or any value onto the output screen. Okay, here you are writing sum is equals to whatever you write in double quotes. Okay, that entire thing, that is nothing but a string which exactly prints onto the output screen. Double quotes close, comma, and you are writing what? C. Okay, it is just like a C language. You know, in the C language also you'll write in the same way, but there you will use the %d, %f, like that format specifiers, placeholders you will use. But here not like that. You are just simply writing like this. Finally, at the end of the final statement, now you are getting sum is equals to 30 like this. Understood? Got it clear? This is the first way of writing a simple program. Sum is equals to 30. You got it. If you want to exit from this command prompt, okay, if you want to exit from this Python command prompt, you simply type with them. You type like this and it will be exited. Done. This is the first way of writing a Python program. Okay, using Python's command line window. Next, second way is what? Here white color is there, no? Icon. Idle, Python's idle graphics window. You click on this Python's idle. Here also same. We have options, no? Here you go configure idle. Okay. And here you can select fonts or tabs, colors, everything you can do it here. But it's already little bit bigger size, so I'm not doing any changes. Okay. I'm directly typing here. Okay. In the same way, hash second Python program. Okay, x is equals to 12, y is equals to 20. Okay, and here some z is equals to x asterisk y, and here print product is equals to double quotes close comma z. That's it. Product is equals to 240. Done. If you want to quit from this, you simply type quit, then press enter. It will ask, your program is still running. Do you want to kill it? Yes. You click on the OK button. Understood? It will be closed. That is the second way of executing a Python program using Python's idle graphics window. These are the two interactive modes. Okay, these are the two interactive modes. Now, the next one is what? Directly from system prompt. Directly from system prompt. So, how to directly do it from the system prompt? That next I will show it to you. One more way I will show it here. Through idle. Okay. Here we are directly typing, no? Now what I am going to do is file, new file. I am taking a new file. Then separate window will be opened like this. Understood? Here I am typing. Okay. So subtraction of two numbers, like that I am writing a simple program where a is equals to 200, b is equals to 40. Okay. C is equals to a minus b. Why, Bindu, always you are taking these simple programs? This is a simple way I am just showing you to execute. So here what program I am not using is a point. How we are going to execute is a point here. Okay, next further we will discuss about all of the different ways, different programs, everything we'll discuss. Okay, so here sub is equals to double quotes close comma C. Okay, I have done. I have written a program. Okay. So then what? Run. You save it. Save. You can save this file as what? Here you can save it in the Python folder, or else I have directly created a Python folder. Python programs 2020. Okay. Click here. You save this as in the double quotes. You save this with sub.py, okay, or else subtract.py, double quotes close. See, why I'm putting it inside the double quotes is, instead of saving as a text file, we are clearly mentioning that save it as a .py file. Okay, for that reason only I'm putting like this in double quotes. Okay, see, save, done. Okay, here you go to the run option. Okay, you click on the run module, F5 option. Okay, you click on the run module. You can see the output. 200 minus 40 is 160. Got it clear? Yes, this is the same. This is another way of typing a program. Okay, not only directly in this prompt, idle shell, you can separately take a file, new file. There you can type the entire program. If you are typing a large lengthy programs, right, then it is a better way to take a new file, write that entire program, then run it. Okay, and finally you can see the output here. Okay, how to exit from here? You click on the quit option. So you type the quit and then press enter key. Your program is still running. Do you want to kill it? Yes. Then you can close this program. Okay. Now you go to this Python programs 2020. Python programs 2020. Have you seen any .pyc file here? Have you seen any .pyc file here? No. Only already I created multiply.py and now I have created subtract.py. Only these files are available. There is no compile. But whereas when you go to Java, right, when you compile a Java program, immediately in whichever the folder you saved your .java file, in the same folder you will get the .class file after compilation. Okay, you will get the .class file, subtract .class, like that you will get a .class file in the same folder. Okay, and then by using the Java interpreter, Java, nothing but Java interpreter, you are taking the .class file, executing it, and finally you are getting the output. But in Python, everything, compilation, interpretation, everything is done internally, and finally you are going to see the output there. I have shown you now. Now my intention is, I just want to separately create the .pyc files. Okay, I just want to separately create the .pyc files. For that, what we have to do? Let's go here. What we have to do? You type like this: Python -m py_compile -m is the module, py_compile is the module name, and you give the file name. Okay, so we are calling the Python compiler by using the m option. M represents module and the module name is pycompile. This module will generate the .pyc file for the what known as a specified .py file. Okay, what this will do, the compiler will create a separate directory in the folder where you saved your Python files. It will create a separate directory known as _pycatch_. In that it will stores the .pyc file. Okay, now that .pyc file name will look like this. Okay, it is a standard Python compiler. Let me see whether it forms or not. Go to the command prompt now. Okay, go to the command prompt now. Okay, where you created in the D drive, no? In the D drive, CD Python programs 2020. That is a folder name. Yes or no? Python programs 2020. Subtract.py, na? Wow, how we have to give? Python space -m space. Okay, next one, what we have to give? What we have to give? py_compile. Okay, so what we have to give? py_compile. Okay, and give the file name. What is the file name? Subtract .py. Okay, py_compile subtract.py. Got it? Now click enter. Okay, then .pyc file is formed where? In this directory, Python programs 2020. Directly? No. Separate folder is created. _py catch_ folder created. There for subtract.py pyc file formed. Let's see. Go there. See here. So Python programs, see here py_pycatch_. You can see subtract dot. Just now I said na, C Python standard Python compiler, because it is a 3.8 version -38.pyc. Got it? Now you come here. Now what I want to do, because compiled code is there na, pyc file is there na. Now I will pass. See, let's see here. I will pass this pyc file to the Python compiler. Now what this Python compiler will do? What is the use of passing pyc file will do? Simple. That's what I said. No, Python compiler first performs the Python compilation process, and it will generate the pyc file, right, internally. But here we are directly providing the pyc file. That's why it will skips the first step, and it will directly gives that file to the PVM, which will execute it into machine understandable format, and finally you are getting the result. So one step is reduced here, which increases the speed of execution, and performance will be increased here. Okay, so now you have to give, right, subtract.c python -38.pyc. Okay, so let me give. Here you give what we have to do, because this subtract.py C Python -38.pyc file is not available in Python programs 2020. It is not there in this folder. Yes or no? It is there in this particular folder. You have to type this one too. Okay. that path also you have to mention here. So now you type cd double underscore, okay, PyCatch double underscore. Now the control is in this particular folder. Here you type Python space subtract dot C Python, okay, hyphen 38 subtract dot C Python, yes or no, C Python hyphen 38 dot pyc. Understood my point? Python space subtract dot C Python hyphen 38 dot pyc. Click enter. You know, you got the result. Sub is equals to 160. Understood? Yes, this is how you can execute the Python programs. And you can generally Python.pyc files are not formed. Internally everything happens and finally you can see the output in Python. Separately, if you want to create the pyc files, then you can do it like this. You use the module known as py underscore compile. Then this folder is created and there all the dot class files, pyc files will be stored. Got it? And you have to execute it like this, okay, which will improve the performance. Understood? Next,
Bindu,
you can type the same thing. Yeah, tell me.
when
Yeah,
you're making this PYC files, right? So you are that PyCharm or what? Sorry, I forgot the name of the folder. That should be created in the Python directory, or it could be anywhere. This you created anywhere,
generally,
right?
which one I did? This Python programs 2020.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's not in the Python directory, right?
It's not there in the Python directory. That's why what I did is, see, when we are installing the Python software, there I have selected the option like add path to the environment variable, right? When
Yeah.
second time we have gone to that properties folder, folder, advanced system settings, environment variables. There I have added the dot semicolon. I have edited the text and I have added dot semicolon. Because of adding the dot semicolon, that means dot indicates the directory. Okay, so which makes we can create a folder anywhere, not only in the Python directory, anywhere in your system, and you can execute the programs.
Okay. So I think I did not do that. That's why I got the error module not found. No module for the PY compiler. So we have to add that.
Yeah, before that path, right? You just add semicolon. See, when you want to separate the paths, you have Java path, you have Oracle path, and you have a Python path and some other paths, right? Every path will be separated with a semicolon. Okay. So,
Yes.
say example, Java path is there. Finally, at the end, you put semicolon. I'll show it to you. 1 second. I'll show it to you.
At the starting, okay.
You have some Java path here. You put semicolon, then dot, then semicolon, then you put the Python path is there, right? Then you put semicolon like this. Dot semicolon, you add it.
Okay.
Okay. So if you add like this, not only in the Python directory, anywhere in the system, you can create a folder and you can store all your files, and that will get executed successfully. Still,
So
you
we have to add that. We have to add that to the script path or to the actual Python path.
Python path in the environment variables. In the user variables, we have created the path. We have added the path, right? Not we.
Yeah.
At the time of installation, it has added, right? Before the path, you put dot semicolon.
Okay, okay. No, because why I'm asking is that will be two paths will be created. One for the script folder and one for the actual Python directory itself, right? So
Two, okay.
yeah, the script also will be added.
I'll see. Yeah, 1 second, I'll show it to you. Properties. What I did is, at the end, at the starting itself, I added. See, dot. Instead of adding to each and everything, here Java path is there, here Python path is there, every path is there, right? What I did is edit text at the starting itself, not before the Java or before the Python. 1 second. Before itself I added dot, semicolon, the next path is available. That dot is applicable to all things. All the paths, whatever is there in the variable value, the dot is applicable for all the paths.
Okay, got it.
Dot, semicolon. Okay. Then press OK. That is applied. Then it will work fine. Okay. Next.
I got the same error.
So, got the same error?
Yeah, even after adding that.
You close that. You close that prompt because you applied that thing now, right?
Okay.
Actually, you close that all the prompts, whatever you have open, and start the new session. Then it will work fine.
Okay. Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. So here these are the 3 ways to execute the Python programs, right? And the next one is disassembler. You know, in Java, Ramagaru, could you please mute?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So here the next thing is, you understood, right? How to execute a simple simple Python program using command line, using Python idle graphics window, and using system prompt. Okay, and I have shown you how to create a .pyc files, which generally not created internally. It will be happen, but if you want to separately create, you can do it like this. I have shown you. And the next one is bytecode. How to view the Python program bytecode. For that, I am using one module known as DIS, disassembler. In Java also we have disassembler. Java P is the command, disassembler command used in Java. But here we have DIS module, disassembler module. So by using this disassembler module, you are telling to the Python compiler, go to the module known as a DIS, disassembler, and convert. See, if you want to see the bytecode of this particular Python file, okay, so you are giving this command known as DIS, disassembler, which will convert this code. It will shows. Generally we can't see the bytecode, right? If you want to see, you have to go the procedure what I shown just now, okay, by using py_compile module, yes or no? But if you want to see the bytecode in human readable format, then you can type this one. Okay, so go to the command prompt. I'll show it to you, and cd ... okay, exiting from that _pycatch_, because I don't want any .pyc file, right? That's why I exited from that directory. And my .py files are there in this Python programs 2020, no? Yes or no? Go here, Python programs 2020. I want .py file. I don't want .pyc files. That's why I exited from this directory. And here I am directly providing multiply.py. Okay. So now here you type Python. Python is a command. Use it for Python compiler. -m is nothing but module. And what module you are going to use for disassembling purpose? DIS module, which represents the disassembler, which will convert the file whatever you have provided, multiply. Okay, multiply.py, right? Which will which will shows the bytecode in human readable format. Okay. So for this file, right, multiply.py file, it will shows the bytecode of that file in human readable format. See there. See here. So here the first one is load constant. Okay, to store name. We are going to use 2 things, right? A variable and B variable. Okay, in the A variable I am storing what 10 value, and in the B variable I am storing what 20 value. Okay, and here I'm giving the names. So it is taking that names. These are the constant names. Load constant means nothing but it is considering that A, B, C as constants, variables. We need some variables, right, to store some data. Okay, and you are calling. See here what happens. It is taking the C value, performing the function here. What function it is doing? Multiply function, and finally it is returning the value. That result you are getting it. This is product is equals to, this is one string, right? String. See, whatever you write it in double quotes or single quotes, that is nothing but a string that exactly prints onto the output screen. Okay. So, and print function you are using for printing it onto the output screen, right? So, this is what the bytecode of that particular file. Okay. To see the bytecode of that particular Python file, you are going to use the DIS module. Understood?